We've owned this property since 1992. And that was a time when all our friends were thinking they wanted beach condos and lake houses, and
so did you.
That sounded attractive to me at the time. He convinced me to drive down here one Sunday and see this piece of property after I'd heard a good bit about it, and I was shocked. When we drove onto the property, it was breathtaking. We purchased the property through a series of events, and he's pieced together the property. We called it the game of risk. He had a big map, and he's added pieces like a jigsaw puzzle all these years.
I wanted a place where I could take my children away from the lake. When we go to the lake, it's a beautiful place, it's fun to go down there, but it's almost as if you lose control of a chance to really spend quality one-on-one time with the kids, because there's so much competition with the boats and the jet skis and all your friends and going out at night, whereas we come here, no TV. We had no TV for the first 15 years. You go to the lake houses, the kids are in one room playing Nintendo, the adults in another room watching TV, and there's just no interaction. So that's why I chose this. I wanted something to allow us to continue as a family to grow together. Mr. Moats owned the property before we bought it. He had 330 acres, but he wasn't managing it for timber or wildlife. In fact, he didn't hunt, and he had cut and thinned a lot of the trees, but had not replanted. When Laura and I bought it, we started managing it more for wildlife and for the timber value. You know, I'm a lawyer, and I can just tell you from being involved in legal and real estate matters that success does not come by accident. It only comes by having the right team. Whether in real estate, we don't have the right team, engineers, architects, bankers, we're not going to be successful. And that's no different than this place that we are as we sit here at this farm. I will tell you that the reason this property looks the way it does, and the reason we've been blessed to even be able to have won this type of an award, is because the people have helped us. If you look at the Alabama Forestry Commission, the Department of Conservation through the Wildlife and Fisheries Division, the Auburn Co-op offices, the extension offices, you're talking about Roger Vines, Joel, Glover, Blake Kelly, and then both on the public side as well as on the private side, some of the great foresters like Sarah Baldwin and Doug McConnell and Ted DeVos on the biology side. That's why it looks so good. When you and Blake came out here in 1993 and we talked about what areas we really wanted to focus on and what kind of wildlife we wanted to focus on, the quail and the turkey, your ideas on the chufa fields, the Egyptian wheat fields, the partridge pea, taking the SMZ and really maintaining it and letting it grow, it's just paid huge dividends. And now this is probably the best growth of partridge pea we've ever had. The rain was great this year.
Well, I know one of the things that we talked about right off the bat was about the one ingredient that a lot of people forget about, and that's sunlight.
I thought thinning pine trees was like a bad economic decision, but in the end, it's just paid so much rewards to my family as far as wildlife viewing, hunting. It's just so much prettier to see diversification like that.
Right, diversity is the key.
That's right, and edges. You taught me the edges matter.
That's right.
Don't ever do anything bigger than this size. Keep it going.
Hey, you know, we like somebody that listens, you know.
My wife would like that too. We're seeing much better deer. We're seeing the average size of the does, the average size of the bucks every year improve, particularly the last 5 years, because we now up to, you know, a large enough tract that we're controlling our own destiny. For us, it's about a balanced management plan. We're not managing just for wildlife, we're not managing just for timber. We're trying to do it complementary and have a bunch of diverse environments. When we first started, we planted about 100 acres of loblolly, but realized that for the recreational value and the wildlife and the treasure forest, we thought it'd be a lot more fun to have something that would be more friendly to quail and deer and turkey and all that. So we came back and planted, over the last several years, about 600 acres of longleaf. You can see down here that we've done some fields for the quail. That's Egyptian wheat and chufa. As we laid out the pond, we wanted to take advantage of the topography and the hardwoods in the area and of the longleaf. So if you look along the edge of our pond, as we saw it today, about half the pond will have grass along the edge. The other half will either have hardwoods or longleafs. And we alternate it so that just from a scenic, from a wildlife, from ducks, from insects, we already have ducks down there now. As far as education, we've had the wildlife judging teams from Coosa County. Of course, they've won a number of national championships and state championships for wildlife and forestry. And Roger Vines, the county agent, comes down here all the time on the judging teams. And we had 3 of the Treasure Forest landowner events here, 2 during the day and then 1 at nighttime where we had the frog pond. They came down here over spring break this last year and did a frog pond tour at nighttime. And so that was kind of interesting. They'd never done anything at night before. And then we've also had a number of other events for the Forestry Commission as well as the Alabama Wildlife Federation, different events or different hunting trips where people came, and we kind of acted as a coordinator to get people together to talk about issues that affect our state wildlife and forestry areas. Well, Roger, this was one of the more complicated projects that we had here at the farm. I appreciate all your help on research on the frogs.
Well, hey, I think this is a really neat project, Chuck. I mean, because not everybody can say they've got a frog pond on their place. I mean, I've seen a lot of ponds, but not many frog ponds.
Unfortunately, I got frog pond, but I ain't got a lot of bullfrogs for gigging. All right, Owen. Managing a property like this would be impossible without having some really qualified people. Owen Smith and Donald Jennings. Owen Smith had 32 years and retired from the Department of Agriculture. To say that he can run a tractor and knows what to plant, when to plant it, how to plant it is an understatement. Donald Jennings takes care of the house and all the outbuildings. He helps maintain them. We've built a fire pit. We've built several playhouses for other families who come down here with younger kids. It's used a lot by missionaries, or we probably have 40, 50 days a year where a missionary or a church retreat occurs here every year. I have a lot of friends who come down here and hunt. We just have been blessed with the ability to even own a place like this. And so, as you can imagine, if you have a condo or a lake house or a beach house, you have new friends. And so oftentimes, one of the tests of who's a good friend and who is a friend that just wants to go hunting is to give them assignments. And so most of my friends will say, what can we do? And I've given each of them assignments. Some of them I've asked to build deer stands. One of my friends, Carl Jones, he loves bees. He's had as many as 100 hives. So I said, Carl, I would love to have some honeybees down here. So for the last 4 or 5 years, we've been raising, we've had 3 or 4 or 5 hives going and getting anywhere from 15 to 20 gallons of honey every year. What's so great is to have friends that enjoy being down here who also enjoy investing their time. Not only were we interested in the recreational and the timber and the wildlife, that was important. The history of this property was so unique. You got a mill here that was built in the 1840s, one of the earliest textile mills in the state. You have the right in front of us, where you're sitting, right behind you, is the old Central Plank Road. The first road built in the state of Alabama that was not dirt. It went from Montgomery to Wintersboro as a way to bring cotton down to Montgomery. Not only do you have that, you have an old gold mine from the 1840s. We have found the Washington Academy, which was an 1848 Mason's Lodge, and we've now found the old cemetery adjacent to that from the 1850s. The history here is just, it's just incredible. And we have such a good time discovering new things all the time. Stewardship to us is not just for the short time that we'll be on earth, but it's a legacy that we want to leave with our children and our grandchildren. And that really, the fact that somebody recognized that we were investing that way was really exciting to us.
It's unique to our family. We don't have another family that we know of our friends that have spent their time like this with their children. And it seems to have really cultivated in the children just an appreciation for the outdoors and just life in general. The memories, we want to spend time here for memory making and just the wholesomeness. It's repetitive, but I really feel that way. I feel like it's a getaway. You leave all the worries of the world behind and you just enjoy the creation.